Hi, it's Jeff with Cleaner Supply. I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to attend today's webinar on understanding what your customers are thinking before, during, and after COVID-19. What I'm about to share with you is a very extensive research study we commissioned that was done with 1,000 consumers. To participate in the study, they had to have used a dry cleaner in the last 12 months. To ensure accuracy of the data, this was taken across the United States with a cross-section of the U.S. demographics. This study was conducted by Drive Research, who specializes in doing consumer research studies. I believe there will be some definite takeaways that you will be able to apply to your business from an operational standpoint to your marketing. I think you're going to find this very interesting. So just a little story on how the study came about, and then we'll get right into the detail of this. So I remember maybe 20 plus years ago, one of the associations did a research study on consumers and dry cleaning. And the biggest takeaway from that study, at least for me, was by far location, without a question, was the number one reason why a consumer chose one dry cleaner over another. And then much lower was price or customer service came after that. But beyond that, to my knowledge, there was no real good studies or data on the dry cleaning consumer, or at the very least was made widely available to the dry cleaning community. And I know today that a lot of you have really great software systems where you can analyze your data in many different ways, from the number of visits to the average order size. And that information is great and amazing, but even that isn't able to give you any great insight into what your customers are actually thinking. So with all that, this idea that we could have a better insight into what the customer is really thinking around dry cleaning, and the potential that this could lead to an opportunity to not only grow everyone's individual business, but perhaps increase the overall market in dry cleaning in general. And I know that that sounds overly ambitious, especially in light of today's challenges in the marketplace with the pandemic and everything going on. But if there was a way for us as an industry to appeal to the consumer better, potentially this could lead to more opportunity for the entire dry cleaning industry to grow. So let's get this underway. We all know that location is important, whether it's a dry cleaner, a restaurant, or a gas station. And if you were to ask the general population out there why they would choose one dry cleaner over another, location would be by far the number one response you will get, just as those earlier surveys had indicated. However, I'm going to dispel that notion just a little, because it is only half true. And the fallacy of those survey studies done some 20 plus years ago is that they did not allow for the sophistication of collecting and breaking out the data that you can do today. Because when you look at this based on your best customers, the customers that are going to you once a week or several times a month to your store, those heavy users, the customers who are really your prime market, they have a very different thinking around why they choose one dry cleaner over another versus your less frequent customers. And what we found was location is not as critical to your best customers as it is to your less frequent customers. But the point that is most interesting about this is that your best customers, the ones coming into your store multiple times per month, rate quick service almost as equally critical as location. And yes, price is number 3, but to your best customers, customer service and price is pretty equal to them. And what you're looking at here is when we survey the consumer, we ask them what are the top 3 reasons they would choose one dry cleaner over another, and the yellow bar is indicating your best customers, while the other bars indicate your less frequent customers. And we'll talk about some of these other areas in detail as we move forward with this. So what about turnaround time? We dug into this a little deeper. And what we found was 59% of your best customers expect that their clothes will be ready in 1 day or less. Again, these are the customers who are making multiple visits per month to your cleaners. And when you break this down by the day, you can see it is even more staggering when you look at the difference between your best customers and all your other customers. And you can see as the days start going beyond 2 days how your best customers' expectation level of when their garments will be ready really decreases. But it's not just your best customers that expect a fast turnaround time, because younger customers' expectations are even greater compared to your older customers. These Gen Zs and Millennials are used to getting Amazon in a day and Instacart in a few hours. So the cleaners that can meet the needs of these new younger generations are more likely to attract and retain these future customers. And let's all not forget, millennials are now the largest demographic in the workforce. So possibly changing your internal operation to accommodate a faster turnaround time and or promoting this could really attract and gain new business for you. And I know this might be challenging to do now with many cleaners currently operating with reduced plant schedules. So this might be something more for down the road. So we thought, what about men and women in terms of their expectations of when their clothes would be ready? Surprisingly, there is little variation in their expectations. This might be the one thing where men and women can finally agree on something. So how does price play into your customer's thought around dry cleaning? We saw that your best customers are less concerned about price versus your lower frequency customers. I'm sure you would agree the ones complaining most about your price are your less frequent customers. Finally, when we looked at price across various demographics, from gender to age to region of the country, and there was very little differences on customers thinking about price across these various demographics. We know that pickup and delivery is becoming a bigger and more important revenue source for many cleaners, and especially through this whole pandemic. So there were some real revealing facts that came out of this too. The first thing we saw is that the vast majority of the consumers believe that dry cleaners are charging extra for pickup and delivery, or at the very least are unsure. This could be a real opportunity, especially if we're offering free pickup and delivery, to really promote this point. A lot of your current or potential customers might not realize this service is free if indeed you're not charging for it. We found that population density really does play a big role in the interest level of the consumer in using pickup and delivery service from their cleaners. People living in urban city areas are 2 times more likely to be interested in pickup and delivery versus people in less populated areas. This probably has a lot to do with higher commuting times and with these consumers looking for ways to save time in their lives. The other thing we found that was interesting is that men are 2 times more likely to be interested in pickup and delivery service versus females. There might be more of an opportunity to be targeting men in some different way. Wash and fold has been another hot area, and again, many through the pandemic have been or are ramping up and targeting this type of service. Surprisingly, 36% of your current customers who are not currently using wash and fold service had indicated they could be interested in the service. Now, we all know just because they're indicating their interest does not necessarily translate that all these customers will convert over to doing wash and fold service. But what we also wanted to find out was what was the appeal of this service to them. And when we asked them what were the main reasons that they would use a wash and fold service, 65% indicated to save time, which certainly makes sense, but 47% indicated they thought by sending it out and by having it professionally done that they would get a better result. So potentially hitting on this point that their laundry is going to come back clean and neatly folded, as well as saving them time, could really help to sell this service. Also, just a little interesting fact is the average person spends about 100 hours a year doing the laundry. So by sending it out, it's almost like you're giving them a 2.5-week vacation per year. And your target market for wash and fold is predominantly male, where men are 3 times more likely to be interested in wash and fold service versus women. And another surprising tidbit that came out of this was women dislike doing laundry twice as much as men. So go figure. And millennials are your prime target market for this service, followed by Gen Zs. If you're trying to market this to your current customer base, and if they're older, chances are you're not going to get a lot of interest in this area. We're also seeing a lot of creative things our customers are doing to market the wash and fold service. Some of these things we are seeing is offering pickup and delivery on wash and fold, where average order sizes tend to be much larger than in-store drop-offs. Another avenue stores are doing is monthly subscription services on wash and fold, where their customers pay a fixed monthly fee based on a designated amount of laundry bags that the customer can fill and bring in per month. And many are finding great success in promoting the service using Google AdWords. We all know being eco-friendly is not only a trend in dry cleaning, but all over, from restaurants eliminating plastic straws to stores charging for using plastic bags. But what we wanted to know is what is the dry cleaning consumer's thought process around being eco-friendly. And what we discovered was that about 20% of your best customers place an importance on selecting a cleaners based on their eco-friendliness, from cleaning methods to packaging. Of course, depending upon your region in the country, this could vary greatly. But the biggest influencer on seeking out eco initiatives from a dry cleaner should be of no surprise that the younger generation places a significant importance on eco-friendly initiatives from their dry cleaner. And just to illustrate this point more, millennials are 3 times more likely to place an importance on this versus baby boomers. Now, some cleaners have a very strong initiative around being eco-friendly and others do not. But again, what we're talking about here is as your older customers retire, these younger customers are going to seek out cleaners who address this. Other studies have shown that millennials are willing to pay extra for products or services that they perceive are eco-friendly. Something else to just keep in mind. We know a lot of you are doing various marketing programs, from direct mail to digital initiatives. And we wanted to see, from a dry cleaning customer standpoint, how they would like to be contacted by you with updates and promotions. And the winner on this was overwhelmingly by email, with 64% of your best customers indicating this as their preferred method, followed by Facebook, your website, and texting. If you're not doing any of these, there could be a great opportunity here. The other thing not to forget is you can segment your email list or target your Facebook ads directed at these various demographics that might have a stronger interest in these services you're offering, like wash and fold or pickup and delivery, as an example. Also, if you have a website, making sure it's optimized for mobile views, because today more than half the traffic on the web is happening on mobile. Another thing we looked at was how important are coupons and promotions with the consumer on selecting a dry cleaner, and 11% indicated that this was an influence for them on choosing a dry cleaner. Now, I'd like to preface this. This does not mean to say that you offering specials in your store for cleaning comforters or things like that are not a good idea for generating additional sales. This is solely about, when selecting a dry cleaners, how much coupons and promotions is a factor. So let's talk about the big elephant in the room and the impact from COVID-19. So no surprise here on the reasons why customers were not going to the dry cleaners. Staying at home, wearing more casual attire, and not dining out are the obvious reasons. But one number that stood out was 83% of your best customers cite that feeling safe and having confidence in your store's sanitary practices is of the utmost importance for them now. So visibly demonstrating and showing proper sanitary measures in your store is critical, and I can't stress this enough. This includes making sure your employees are wearing a mask, making sure your drivers have a mask available, employees sanitizing their hands or wearing gloves, regularly and visibly wiping down counters, credit card machines, or any surface where people are touching. Even little things like trying to keep doors propped open, telling customers if they call or text, you'll bring their clothes out to them, or setting up a rack in the front of your store where customers could just come in and grab their clothes, really goes far. And let's not forget that you're going to have customers with different degrees of concerns and apprehensions around their comfort level in interacting with you. So the more you can accommodate these different customers with making them feel safe and comfortable will only benefit you. And I would also recommend that you convey to your customers, whether this is through Facebook, email, or whatever means you use, to show them exactly what you're doing in your store around this. Another thing I'd like to point out is 71% of your customers indicated that they would prefer a contactless payment method in paying for their dry cleaning now. Whether this means just keeping a customer's credit card information on file, if you are not already doing this. Something else to note, there have been studies done by the restaurant industry that show that if the customer perceives that safety right now is being practiced, they are more likely to see their takeout and delivery business increase. Really conveying this to your customer right now is critical. So, I know myself, I have had numerous conversations with many customers over the last several weeks, months, about what is going to be the impact after this pandemic is over, and will there be a trend with more people working at home and the potential for less dry clean piece goods. I'd like to preface this as my guess is probably as good as anyone's, but I'd like to share with you some information and data around this area. So, we surveyed the dry cleaning consumers about if they thought after the coronavirus is over, did they feel their employer will be more willing to allow for them to work at home. Now let's face it, we're all hearing things in the news from Facebook to Twitter who are moving towards a more work at home situation with their staff. And some 34% of the dry cleaning consumers indicated that they thought their employer will be more willing to allow some sort of work at home situation after COVID-19. So when I saw that number, I practically fell off my chair. But we all know that what an employee might think also might not be reality. So let me share another number that will hopefully put everyone at a little more ease. This came from a survey that SHRM did, which is a Society for Human Resource Management, and I would rather believe them on this. What they did was they surveyed 1,000 HR leaders to ask them this very same question. Surprisingly, 95% of these HR professionals indicated they did not see any changes from a pre-COVID-19 status in allowing their employees to work at home after the whole COVID-19 is over. So my take on this is what the consumer or employee might be saying might be more hopeful than reality. And by the way, this should be of no great surprise that HR managers feel this way, because when the retailer Mattress Firm did a recent survey on what percentage of people took a nap during the work hour while currently working at home, some 6 out of 10 people admitted to doing just that. Here are the 6 big takeaways from this study. 1. Offering quick turnaround in 1 day or less is not only crucial to your best customers, but there might be an opportunity here to appeal to some new customers and expand your business by doing this. Also, if you're doing this, you want to make sure you're promoting this too. 2. If you're offering pickup and delivery for free, you need to make sure your customers and potential customers are aware of this. When you're delivering your garments, do your invoices indicate anywhere that delivery is free? Promoting this in your store and your advertising might generate more business around this. And don't forget, men are more likely to be interested in pickup and delivery service versus females. 3. Even though women dislike doing laundry more than men, male, Gen Zs, and millennials are the ones most interested in wash and fold service. Targeting these customers might be a great way to reach this segment of the market. 4. It's not just millennials who place an importance on eco-friendly measures in your dry cleaners, but your best customers feel the same way. And this will only increase as time goes on. 5. Your best customers prefer to be marketed by you via email, followed by Facebook, your website, and then texting. At the minimum, if you don't have a promotional email program in place, now is the time to start. Statistics have shown that more than half the population will check their email first before doing anything else online. 6. In this COVID-19 environment, conveying and showing safety and sanitation measures within your store now is most critical. So, I had asked someone to join me on this webinar, and she was unable to do that due to a prior commitment, and to be honest with you, she's not all that comfortable with using technology or Zoom, and no, I am not talking about my mother, so I have a quick little video from her that I'd like to share with you.
Hello there, dry cleaners. It's me, Marla Gibbs. You know, Florence from the Jeffersons. And I'm glad to be able to do this webinar thing. Can everybody hear me out there okay? You know, the next thing they probably want me to do is one of those Zoom things, whatever that is. Anyway, let's get serious for a minute. I know with everything that's going on, it's got to be really, really, really tough out there. And believe me, I know what tough is because I used to work for George Jefferson himself. But I also learned that things do get better. I mean, like fashion styles. Did you ever see any of those outfits George used to wear? Child? So you hang in there and keep doing the best for your customers. I mean, like you always do. But one thing you must remember and never, never forget is to always get your cleaning supplies from Cleaner's Supply. Okay, I'll let you get back to it. I love you, good seeing you, and now enjoy the rest of the webinar.
You know that I had to get some type of plug in here somewhere. Thank you again for attending our webinar.